Hey, what's up, friends? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to Book Talk. It's me, Brianca Jay, and I want to thank you for tuning in again. Today, I'm actually going to be mixing my hobbies with my profession. So, I teach 10th grade literature, so a lot of my students have been invited here to learn about the novel they're reading, which is 1,000 Splendid Suns. But that doesn't mean that you're not welcome too. We all can learn together because this is the opportunity for us all to enjoy really, really good literature. Before we get started, I'm going to ask you what I always ask you. Use these buttons, these opportunities like a tip jar. If you're loving a video, tip your host. You can tip me 3 different ways. You can subscribe, naturally. You can leave a comment, or you can press the thumbs up button. Each of these really help me to reach my goals. As you know, I want to get 7 more subscribers by the end of October, so press that button. Another thing, my book is coming out November 28th. It is a children's book written and illustrated by me. I'm going to be doing a virtual launch on Facebook Live, and I want to invite my entire community to come out and support me. I'm actually going to be offering these really cool bundles where you can get something special with the book if you're one of the early buyers. So stay tuned for more information with that. Without further ado, let's talk about 1,000 Splendid Suns. The book is set in Afghanistan, and right now we are introduced to the main character, Mariam. And Mariam is coming of age, and we're watching her grow up and learn about the world she lives in and her place within it. And yeah, so the first 9 chapters is what I really want to explore today, and I really want to focus on some of the questions that may come up. We're introduced to Mariam and her mother, Mami, and the book opens with us really knowing the sadness and despair that Mariam has faced already at a young age. Her mom calls her a harami, which is a bastard, and she's been saying that to Mariam for years, and Mariam has already internalized the idea that a harami is a bad thing and an unwanted thing, an unhappy thing. And so the tone of those opening chapters sets us up for the novel, and it's really one of somber. It's a very somber tone. It's not a happy book. We know that very early on, and our heart is kind of breaking for this little girl. We have a lot of sympathy for her already. The relationship she has already struck with her mother is one that is very disappointing, to say the least. We see that her mother really resents her daughter and holds her daughter responsible for some of the horrible things that have happened in her life, even though it wasn't Mariam's fault. She's blamed for her mother's pregnancy, for her mother's exile, and for her mother's lack of support, right? And so the little girl begins to place her identity as one of lesser than and unloved, and she internalizes this idea of low self-esteem and lack of self-worth. And you see that come through because of the psychological and emotional neglect that this young girl is receiving daily from her parental figure. And we know that a parent is a great influence in our lives. It is the first foundational blocks of our self-esteem. So Mariam's inability to have a loving caretaker is the first act of looking for the right word here. It's the first act of psychological neglect that will lend itself to building her character and will be detrimental for her throughout her life, because our parents are very influencing of who we are, especially young. So we see this girl go through a lot of conflicts. Her father doesn't really visit her and isolates her, so she's kind of exiled from the city, and her father only visits her from the weekend, but he doesn't really consider her one of his children. She's kind of like an outside child. We have her being neglected by her mother, emotionally neglected as well as emotionally abused and verbally abused by her mother. We see her want inclusivity for her birthday. She wants to be included for her birthday, and she's not included, and she's hurt. And she has to start developing an idea about who her parents are and who she is. And this is a lot to take in, even as an adult, but as a young girl, this is overwhelming. Her mother hangs herself, and we see that, and we also see her go to her father for help, but is left to live on the street. So she goes through a lot of external as well as internal conflicts throughout the first 9 chapters of the work. 5 actually, I just went over 5. When she moves, so after her mother dies, she has to move in with her father Jalil. We're reading the book, so we can see that Jalil isn't the most loving father. He gives what he feels is enough. Mariam accepts this breadcrumbing of love because she doesn't understand, right? She's not clear on the fact that yes, he comes every weekend, but there's 7 days in a week and he doesn't visit me 7 days. And yes, he tells me about the movies, but he doesn't take me to the movies. And though her mother is cruel about it, she is trying to position her daughter to see the world clearly. But she doesn't until she moves in with Jalil and his wives. And that's when she really starts to understand. This man does not love me the same as I love him. My love isn't being reciprocated the same way. And that's really hurtful, to love your father and to then have him only like you, or to, and he enjoys her constant attention and constant affection, but he doesn't want to open himself up to love her the way that she loves him. And that is deeply hurtful for this little girl. That is deeply emotionally ruining. And so she's in this house, this mansion, and she's beginning to understand, like, all I've ever had was little, and look at all that's around me, and yet I can't go eat with them. I can't go drink with them. I still don't really have a relationship with my father or my siblings that I want, but I'm in this home and I feel neglected. And so when she's in that house, she's told she has to get married. She's 15 and she's told she has to get married. And she'd always set herself up to believe that she could go to school one day. And so being told she had to get married really shifted her perspective. And that was the first time she called to her father and she's like, can you help me? And she sees him do nothing. And so her life changes completely. Her life is completely changed by this move. Not only her physical environment, but her demeanor, her understanding of the world has just shifted in her eyes. She's seen her mother hanging from a tree, and now she's seeing her father act cowardly, and how these women, his wives, are so threatened by this 15-year-old girl that she has to be shipped away because they find her existence to be a sore reminder of their husband's infidelity. So then we have her move in with her new husband, Rashid. And as we know, Rashid is an older man. So she's 15 and her husband's maybe 45 to 50, maybe. And so she moves in and she gets to the house and she's immediately in tears because this house is really in poor condition. It's really badly furnished. It's not like what the wives have tried to describe to her. It's actually very disappointing. And he tells her, you know, I hate to see a woman cry. Almost like he's gonna let her get adjusted, but then he's going to expect her to take on her new duties and be a wife. And our impression of Rashid so far is not positive, right? We are new to him. We are trying to get a feel of him, but We don't feel that he's the most generous man, and we don't feel that he's the most sensitive man. He's not a sensitive guy. He's not trying to better understand this girl as you would hope that an older man would. And then lastly, we're starting to see that how Mariam feels about her new life with Rashid. And she is afraid, she's uncomfortable, and she's still trying to persevere. So one thing I can say about Mariam, above all her faults, above her self-esteem issues and her self-worth issues, is that Mariam is the type of woman that's going to persevere. Mariam is not the type of woman who's going to just die, right? She continues to try, even when her actions are in vain, even when her intentions are placed towards the wrong results. Mariam she gives it an effort, and she always gave it an effort, and for that we have to respect her. But that's my review of chapters 1 through 9 of 1,000 Splendid Suns. If you read it and you liked it, tell me which parts you liked best and which parts really resonated with you. Throughout the video, I did add the quotes so that you can see evidence, because I always ask you guys to give me evidence, so I want to give you evidence as well. Other than that, I'm going to wish you guys a great day, and yeah, see you next time. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It helps me, and when I'm happy, I'm happy. I don't know what to tell you. Thank you. Have a great day.